My mom and I and my entire family, basically. It was my mom, my grandmother, my sister, my brother, and I. We've always kind of been homeless. My mom would play poker most of the time to pay our rent and everything, and put food on the table when she did. And at one point she was put on disability permanently, and she hasn't worked since I was like 4 or something. She always gets mad about it because she's like, well, if I would just go to work and all this other crap, like I would not have to deal with anything at home, and we wouldn't be worrying about being homeless and all this other crap. So eventually she just started sleeping around with people to pay for our rent. And she had a friend from when she was really little. She grew up with him, who was a truck driver up in North Dakota. So he said, well, I'll send you money to come up here and you'll live with me. She's like, okay. And that's kind of how we got here. And once we got here, we kind of lived, we were in Minot for a while. It was not the best. He was super abusive, not to my mom, but towards me and my sister and brother. I moved out of my mom's house maybe like 2 or 3 years ago because she was super abusive too. She's been abusive since I was a baby, and I'm the oldest, so she's kind of always been abusive in my brother and sister's life, but I've always kind of been like the target. I got kicked out of my mom's technically. I started running away at night. She was gonna give me up to the state, and I was gonna be in the custody of the state, and I was gonna go into foster care, but my grandma stepped in and she's like, no, I'll take her. My 9th grade in high school was really, really tough because I got into drugs. I started smoking weed. I would pop random pills or whatever, and I was on probation for a while. And I was put on probation because I was going to court for truancy charges for not showing up to school. There were certain rules I had to follow. I had to show up to school. If I didn't show up to school, I had to have like a doctor's note or something. And then it got to the point where me and my grandmother were fighting every day, and so then I went into foster care, and I was in foster care for like 2 months. Then I was put in residential treatment at Luther Hall, and I was there for a little over 10 months, and then I was in residential treatment here in Fargo, and my grandma moved up here and she took me in afterwards, and we finally got the legal papers done, and she's my guardian. And I was introduced to Youth for Christ when I was living with my grandmother in Minot. Actually, one of the people that worked there used to be my bus driver when I lived in Glenburn. His name's Sanders Shumway. He was like my best friend when I was in school because everybody bullied me and nobody on the bus liked me, and it was just really hard. He always stuck up for kids too. Like if he saw someone getting bullied, he would tell them to stop. And then I went one night and I saw Sanders and I got really excited and I cried again because I missed him. Like they play all these games and they would talk about like Jesus and all this stuff, and it made me feel like I was worth something to somebody. That's how I got involved with Youth for Christ, and I was with them for a few years. I looked it up and they had Red River Youth for Christ, and I'm like, okay, well, their office should be down the road from my house. So I went and I found it, and I met some really cool people. I met Danielle and a bunch of people she works with. I think she was the first person that I actually like talked to. Like when I went in the office, I can't remember who it was I saw at first, but they brought me to Danielle, and me and Danielle kind of just started talking, and I don't know, I guess I kind of got her phone number and we just stayed in contact. Even if I had other people, I'd probably go to her first because I just feel more comfortable with her, I guess. Which is really weird because she's usually the people I try to avoid. Danielle's been helping me with food and stuff because I don't have a job or anything, and I for sure don't know how to cook anything other than ramen noodles and Hot Pockets. Normally I wouldn't really still be going on with like Youth for Christ or anything church in general, but Youth for Christ kind of just, they feel like a family that I feel like I always wanted, and they really care. And like, no matter if, even if it's just like I'm upset and I need to talk to somebody about something, like there's usually somebody that'll ask me like what's wrong, and they won't just sit there and say, yeah, that sucks. They'll actually get like in conversation with you. It seems like they genuinely care, and they want to help me understand like when I do something wrong, or if I need to fix something, or if I need help figuring out what to do. They usually try and give me their best advice. It's like I kind of feel like I can do things that I never thought were possible 3 years ago. If it were me, I'd support Youth for Christ, not only because I'm a part of it, but because I know that I'm not the only one that gets helped. I know that if I help Youth for Christ, they're gonna help a lot of other people. And especially people who can, if they're reached at a young age, they can probably steer their life in a completely better direction. I think that's the biggest problem this world has, is nobody really has a reason to believe anymore, because nobody gives them one. And Youth for Christ does that for me, and I feel like they do that for a lot of other people too.